everyone, this is Gretchen, and first of all, I hope that everyone is safe and staying home and staying healthy. And this video is for those of you who could not make our online training sessions for one reason or the other, and also those of you who have been logging onto our training sessions. Thank you very much for that, but you want to refresh your skills. And the first skill I want to speak on is active listening. And let me start out with a fact in that we spend 40%, at least 40% of our lives listening. That's almost half our lives. So you want to be good at it. And when you do what we do, when you're talking on the phone to passengers or agents, this is the most important skill to have. So what about active listening and hearing? Are they the same? What do you think? When you're born to hear, if you're lucky. Some people aren't so lucky and fortunate, but you are, so be thankful for that. Now, hearing is a born skill. It's a passive skill because you automatically hear things. You don't have to work at it. A small baby hears a loud noise and starts crying. Now, listening, on the other hand, and especially active listening, is a learned skill. It's something that you learn to do. And and you will also notice, if you haven't noticed already, that there are several barriers to listening, to being active listening and understanding what the other person is saying. And the first barrier would be the other person's accent. They're not speaking clearly. They may not know the language very well, so their sentence structure is not right, and so they're hard to understand. They can't get their message across. And so that is one barrier. Number two is background noise. People talking in the background, especially if you're at home. You have other people talking in the background. You have a baby crying. You have a dog barking. You have so many different things. And even in office, there's a lot of background noise with people talking and shouting and clapping because of some recognition someone got, which is all good, but yes, it creates a lot of background noise. Another barrier would be bad connection, which is something we've all been dealing with logging on to the remote training. There's been bad connection and connectivity, and people can't hear you, and people's voices break up, and it's just very hard to understand people. Another barrier would be you're distracted. You're thinking about something else or someone else, or you're worried about something and your mind wanders, and then you realize you haven't heard a thing that the other person has said. So it's very important to focus, to sort of put those thoughts in another compartment somewhere and deal with them when you can, when you're not having to listen to someone else. That is also a learned skill as well. And the last one, and what's one that I hope none of you do, is when you intentionally tune out and you don't want to hear what the other person has to say for one reason or the other. You're angry with them. You don't think what they have to say is worth listening to. So you just choose not to. So those are the barriers. So what I want to do now is to give you some steps for better active listening, so that you can effectively and efficiently understand the other person's requests and efficiently help them and resolve the issue. Number one would be give them your undivided attention. Active listening requires your undivided attention and focus on the other person. So, and they can't tell if you're giving their undivided attention if you're on the phone, so it's good to do verbal nods. I see. I'll keep that in mind. I can do that. I understand. Those are nice positive verbal nods that you can use so they know that you're hearing. Second step is to paraphrase. Once they're done with their request, say an example would be, yes, if I understand you correctly, you would like to take this flight option. Or if I'm hearing you correctly, none of these options will work and you would like me to find another option for you at such and such time. Or, so that we're on the same page, Mr. Smith, you would like me to reissue this ticket. Those are all good paraphrasing statements, which always work. So the other person knows that you're paying attention and you're listening and you want to understand what they're saying so that you can help them. It demonstrates a desire to help, which is what is very important. Number 3, and I cannot stress this enough, is do not interrupt. Do not interrupt or talk over the passenger, ever. No matter if you have the answer on your tip of your tongue, you know exactly what the situation is, and you just jump on it, don't do it. Control yourself, hold back until they're done. Never cut them off, never. It's very, especially to an American, that's very rude. It means that you don't care or respect what they have to say. And it does happen, sometimes you accidentally interrupt somebody. Sometimes there's a delay with the phones, there's a delay in the response due to technology or whatever. If that happens by accident, always be the one to apologize. Say, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue. But always hear them out so they know that they're being heard. Never cut them off. And those are the tips that I have for active listening, the most important tips. If you have any questions, feel free to WhatsApp me or call me. I'm always here. And again, stay safe, and I'm looking forward to the time where I can see you in the office again. Good night.